Welcome back to the channel. Justin Des here, and you're wondering, why am I showing MLB The Show? Well, because I'm going to break down the teams that I might potentially use for MLB The Show 24. I asked people on Twitter, the community post on the channel, and they want the series back. So I'm going to run it back. Just, it's going to be a little bit different. It's only going to be American League teams this time. I've done a Pirates franchise, and then obviously Nationals. I kind of want to get out of the National League. I want to explore the American League, and I will show a couple of honorable mentions, but in no particular order. Besides the honorable mentions are the teams that I want to use. But also, to be warned, and I will tell you in a future video when I do release the team that I want to play with, is I don't know when I will start the series up because it is due in March, but I also have a child potentially on the way around that time, so I might announce it and then you may not see it for a while, and I just want to give you a heads up because I'm gonna be a dad. I gotta do dad stuff, so there's a warning. But without further ado, let's hop into it. Here are my honorable mention teams. We're going to start off in the American League with the Tampa Bay Rays. Now, the Tampa Bay Rays really have a very, very promising team. Obviously, Shane McClellan, I don't know how to say his name, but they have a lot of promising prospects. They have one of the deeper farm systems in all of baseball, I would say, especially with their infielders like Isaac and Curtis Jr. We're not going to talk about the guy at shortstop, but Carson Williams, and obviously Randy Rosarena, one of the, I think, underrated stars in the game. But really, besides that, you know, they've never won a World Series, which is what I'm like, hey, draw towards them. I really like their uniforms, but to me, with my franchise, I kind of want it to be a middle of the pack farm system or no farm system at all. And to me, the Rays just have a bunch of prospects already. And yeah, I could trade them to get maybe go all in. But to me, I want a franchise where there's like maybe one, maybe two prospects, and then that's really it. So really, the Rays are the honorable mention. The second honorable mention team that I want is my New York Yankees. Yes, the last time they made it to a World Series, I was in 5th grade. I'm 26 years old now, so it's been a long, long time. And one of the reasons why it has turned me off is because, one, my good friend State of the Franchise might do them, and I don't want to, be doing the same team as him. I know I probably will have another YouTuber do the same franchise team as me, but to me, if he's going to do the Yankees, I'm not going to touch it. So, but really, what intrigued me was I want to make the Yankees great, and they really do not have any pitching prospects at all. Maybe Drew Thorpe, but besides that, there's like no, and even then, he's really the only true promising young pitcher. Well, other than that, everyone's just old. Yes, there is Austin Wells, Jason Dominguez, and Anthony Volpe, but for the most part, this is a very old team around Aaron Judge. So, could we, in this, he's on his, 10-year, but we're going to be in 2024, so he's already 1 year into his 10-year deal. He's going to be 31. Does he really want to stick around for a rebuild or retooling of, getting a younger core around him? Or could you possibly trade him and get young assets and completely rebuild, maybe around Anthony Volpe or Dominguez? Who knows? But to me, the Yankees are very promising, but again, they're not as stacked as the Rays in terms of AAA. But to me, you got some of the heavy hit, the top dogs, and also the fact that, you have one of the bigger budgets in the game, so you could basically just buy guys, kind of turns me away. So those are my honorable mentions. Now we'll get to the actual list of American League teams. Sorry, some people are like, oh, what about the Oakland A's? I'm not doing the Oakland A's. To me, I just feel like they're too easy to do, and it's going to be very, very common for guys to do this because they do not have a lot going for them. Now, I know this is 23's roster. It could be completely different, but yeah, no, not doing the A's. I feel like a lot of people are going to do the A's because they're that terrible. I'm kind of sticking away towards that. So I figured I would tell you no Oakland A's. So now we'll actually get to the list. All right. The first team that I'm thinking of is the Detroit Tigers. Now, they have been in the bottom of the AL Central for a long time. The last time they won a World Series was 1984. I was not even born. My parents were teenagers. The last time they made it to a World Series was in 2012. I was a sophomore in high school, and as you can tell, I'm a teenager. So roughly a decade plus. No Miguel Cabrera. Really some bright spots like Kerry Carpenter, but for the most part, you got kind of middle of the pack type of pitching like Casey Mays, Jackson Jobe is one of the brighter pitching prospects on this team. Really, the bullpen's not that great. No relievers, and really there's not. Obviously, Spencer is one of the brighter spots of this young core. Maybe we build around him. Jace Jung, one of the top prospects in the entire organization. Colt Keith. Obviously, we have Javi Baez with that big contract not playing well. What are we going to do with him? And then Babadoo, one of my favorite names to say, underrated guy. Riley Green, one of the top prospects. Max Clark. What? There are some pieces. We also have the 11th pick going into the 2024 draft. So where do we go? Do we go outfield? Do we go shortstop? Do we go third base? There are some promising young guys, but there's not a leader in the clubhouse to say, yes, this is the guy that we're going to build around. If we do take the Tigers, maybe we can find the next guy and build around them. So that's why the Tigers are very interesting to me. The next team is the Chicago White Sox. Now, they have the 5th overall pick in this upcoming draft. They do have Dylan Cease, who I believe he actually got traded in real life, so I don't think we're going to have him. Garrett Crochet is one of the more promising young bullpen guys usually in the game. But really, besides Dylan, there's not. Garcia from the Yankees could be, but there's not a true top pitching prospect. Again, this is just 23's roster. 24 can be completely different. Closer, we have obviously Liam Hendricks, but he's getting old. Grandal, he's getting old. We have Corey Lee from the Astros. Maybe he could be the guy. Edgar Guaro, who we did have in the Nationals franchise. Andrew Vaughn is a young guy. But we got old guys like Elvis Andrews. Moncada's getting up there. Tim Anderson's not who he used to be. But then we also have promising guys like Colson Montgomery. Obviously, Jimenez is a good ball player. Benintendi, with his big contract, what are we going to do with him? Then obviously Luis Roberts Jr. Could we build around him? Or do we trade him? Since he's a little bit more expensive and we could potentially get more from him. Klay Thompson's brother, what can we do? To me, they're exciting. Like, yes, they have Moncada, Luis Roberts, he could be the potential centerpiece, but do we trade him and go completely rebuild? Or does he stick it out, kind of like a Judge-esque situation where we just build younger pieces around him and whatnot? So that's why the Chicago Cubs are very interesting to me. Last team I'm thinking about is from Beantown, the Boston Red Sox. As a Yankees fan, as much as I love in real life that the Yankees I mean, the Red Sox are terrible. I know baseball is better when they are good. Yes, you have Chris Sales, who is due $30 million, dollars, and in real life, homeboy does not play. Meanwhile, he does in this. He's 34. What are we going to do with his contract? It's going to be $30 million. Then you have promising young guys like Bello and Tanner Huck as well. The bullpen, older but not very promising. Starting pitching, yeah, you don't really have, besides really Huck and Bello, you don't have a pitching prospect. Closer, you don't. Yeah, you have Jensen, but you don't have anyone promising. Connor Wong, Reese McGuire, a little bit older. You have Kyle Teal, maybe. But you do have one of the promising young guys in Tristan Casa. Do you build around him? Trevor Story, what are you going to do with his contract? He's 30. He's up there as well. You know, what can you do with his contract? Aging an old 30 million, like roughly $30 million. Rafael Devers, are you going to build around him like Judge? Because he is one of the top young guys, only 26 years old. But he's going to be expensive. And 3 years into this, is he really going to want to stay? You know, who knows? Obviously, you have Luis Urias as another potential young guy. Justin Turner, I know he's no longer there in real life, but then you have Marco Mayer, who is one of the top prospects in all of baseball up there. Maybe he can become the guy to build around and potentially replace Devers as the guy. Obviously, you have Yoshida, who you signed pretty big contract, a decent sized contract, 29. You know, what are you going to do with him? Adam Duvall's old. I don't think he's on the team, actually. Jaron Duran, another solid guy as well. And I know Alex Verdugo is no longer there. So really, you know, do you wait for Mayer to develop? You know, what are you going to do with Rafael Devers? Kind of like Luis Roberts and Aaron Judge, where they signed, well, mostly Judge, because they both signed long-term deals. And yes, he's younger. He is younger than Judge. He's not 30, he's 26. He's entering his prime. Do you trade to get more prospects and completely rebuild? Or do you stay patient and say, you know what, he's our guy, let's build around him, and eventually find a guy to take the load off of him as well? So, but let me know what you think. Red Sox, Tigers, and White Sox are all of the three teams in the clubhouse leading to be the MLB The Show 24 franchise. Let me know down in the comments what your thoughts about it. Until next time, you guys have a good one. Peace.